Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Monday's edition of National Matters. Of course, those of you that are there watching, tell somebody that we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and please subscribe so that wherever you are in India, where you can still watch Camnet television, and the phone lines are scrolling there, including the text messages, so that you've got everything in place ready. By the time we come to questions and answers, you won't struggle. In the studio, please help me to welcome the EFF President. Mr. President, welcome to the program.
I'm very honored to be here, Pastor, and I look forward to a beautiful discussion. And I want to say good evening to Zambia and everybody that is watching us.
Okay, who is President KASONDE?
It's a very patriotic Zambian, a husband, and a father to 4 kids.
When you say husband, how many wives? You should be completing, you know.
No, to only one wife.
Okay.
Sure. Yes, and I've got 4 kids. And professionally, I'm an architect, and I'm also a legal scholar.
You are an architect and a legal scholar.
Yes.
Which one have you majored into?
I've majored in both due to circumstance. I started off as an architect, but I've also done legal studies that have enabled me to have opportunity to contribute meaningfully to the governance, especially that now I'm a politician and I wanted to make sure that I'm vested sufficiently in knowledge that can make me provide valuable contribution to the running of this country.
How did you develop the desire to be a politician instead of concentrating on making drawings and designs for politicians?
Making money. Yes. It's in the course of learning that even when I was a student of architecture, I always found time to be relevant to the governance of the institution where I was. I was privileged to have been the president for the Copperbelt University Students Union, Kobusu. So even when I was studying architecture, I never stepped foot off being relevant to provide leadership. I always want to be part of the people that are shaping society, that are contributing passionately. I love to serve. And when I'm not serving, I feel like I'm not giving my best. So the issue of me joining mainstream politics is something that came naturally. When I left campus, I came to Lusaka, barely a year old in Lusaka. I stood for Lusaka Central as member of Parliament.
For which
I remember coming around here, Lusaka Central. Of course, the big Lusaka Central. I stood as member of Parliament. I wasn't even in any political establishment, so I ran as an independent. And I was shocked myself also because I managed to come out third.
Really?
Yes.
Fantastic. I have a poster that was sent to me by my friend, a mother admonishing the son, a young boy.
Sure.
The mother said to the boy, "Stop telling lies. Otherwise, if you grow up like this, you end up being a politician." How do you interpret that? Are politicians liars?
I think it's one thing I keep getting across almost every day when I'm doing politics, is that there is a certain way in which politicians have been conducting their business of leadership. Over time, I think the nature of the platform, political platform, I think it's so much riddled with so much challenges, and sometimes people fail to put themselves up there and provide leadership without them succumbing to propaganda, dribbling, telling lies for them to get the things that they want. So sometimes, as I'm seeing, people easily cluster everybody in the same bracket. They believe politicians are liars. But I believe we don't all come from the same house. We were not all raised from the same house. We do not have the same principles and beliefs. Politicians are individuals like every other who come from different backgrounds, different principles, and they meet on the political scene. So I believe each politician has got something specific that they bring. It's unfortunate that most of the politicians have got lies as part of their package.
This is what I'm coming to, because when you're outside, you politicians, you promise people, to create mountains without injuring people on Cairo Road. And once you come up with all these wonderful things, a cheap mind and somebody who does not analyze issues, they will fall for the lies that are told by mostly politicians. And I've noticed this from the time President Kaunda was in power. I'll tell you something. Two of the ministers, may their souls rest in peace, they were my good friends. When I issued a statement to say there is no political party that can solve the problems of this nation without God being involved, I was condemned, I was called names, they said you are UNIP, a lot of things. Two ministers, full cabinet ministers, and they said, Pastor Chiluba, we are going in there because Kaunda is not educated. Kaunda this, Kaunda that. And when MMD came, if you followed the wind that was blowing, there were a lot of lies that accompanied that. So when they were 3 years in power, I met the two of them at one of the friend's office. I said, this is 3 years down the line. You promised the people of Zambia that you do this, and that Kaunda was not educated. Is there any better lineup in politics than the MMD? Why have you failed to solve what you promised the people? You know what they said?
What did they say?
They laughed and said, Pastor Chiluba, some of these things, you are better off to be inside. Because when you come in, you discover that the things are not the way you...
Yes.
But why is it, I'm still insisting, in Africa, why is it that lies are part of the winning package?
I think it's...
Will you also be in that category?
I will not definitely be in that category, because if I wanted to be in that category, I would have already prospered. By virtue, this is not my first appearance on the political scene. It has taken me probably even longer. Some people are seeing me now for the first time, but I've been knocking. I've been knocking even when I was much younger. But the road of integrity, the road where you are honest and you are working genuinely hard, you are telling the truth, is a longer one. It's a painful one. You need to give out a lot of your life for you to reach at a point where people will believe in you. So people rather choose to have lies because they expedite your process. They move you faster. So it's not like when you're a politician, you definitely are guaranteed that you win the support of people. There will be people who are more gifted. You're a gifted preacher. You're a man of God. In that sphere, you have risen to where you are by virtue of your gifting. It is what has brought you there. So on the political scene, it is also like that. There are people who go there with different motives. Some don't even have the gifting. Not that they can't be leaders, but they may not have the gifting to connect with people. But they know lies have got no talent. Once you position your lies well, you can end up, you can fake it to even almost let people think you are the real thing, you care for them. So those people who probably have got the gifting, the desire, are competing against people that are telling lies, that are manipulating things. So it's quite very difficult for people to tell what is genuine and what is not.
I hear you. Are you a Christian?
Born again and spirit-filled.
Born again and spirit-filled.
And I love my Lord.
Okay. Should you become president, will you keep Zambia as a Christian nation, or you would do away with it?
I've never actually thought of ever tampering with that. I think it's a voice of the people, that people have chosen what they want to be and describe themselves. And I respect that. And each and every people choose what they want to be. They have got their own reasons. I think as Zambians being exposed to Christianity, we have found the positives. That's not a decision that we are coerced into, but it is a fundamental that was birthed out of our experiences as a Christian. We have enjoyed peace since independence, and predominantly we are Christian. So we have come to a realization that our peace is not an accident. It is birthed out of a certain character. And for us to preserve that character of peace and joy, we can only safeguard it where we found it. Even in the Bible, when you read, you find that the Apostle Paul would caution the church. You say, but you started well. Now you have reached here. Why do you want to seek to find relevance in other things? In the same way, as Zambians, we have reached where we are. And the path that has brought us this far is a Christian path. It's not an accident that people around us have been fighting. They have seen no peace, but we have enjoyed peace exceedingly. It's not an accident. And why should we change a winning formula? Why should we all of a sudden start experimenting? Why should we start now allowing pagan worship, practices, homosexuality? Why should we open those floodgates? We have seen in those spheres and places where people have been careless and opened themselves up to anything, to carnality. We have seen how in America, it's almost every day that you find a kid, a young boy who go into a kindergarten with a gun and shoot up everybody because he was made into a radical. He was radicalized by some religion, by some practices. You find that men start marrying fellow men and women, fellow women, and then you see you have a society that is debased of morality.
So, you believe that President Chiluba was right to declare Zambia a Christian nation?
I feel
you have no problem with that.
Actually, I feel he was just an extension of the voice of the people. It is the people that wanted to be governed as such. And I'm glad he hearkened to the voice of the people of Zambia. People chose, it was a voice of the people, and it still remains a voice of the people.
Actually, I didn't know this, but we've got some write-up. The 1965,
yes,
Dr. Kaunda declared Zambia a Christian nation. You are aware about that?
Yes.
1965.
Yes, I saw it.
And the President Chiluba came and declared Zambia.
Yes.
Him did it from the corridors of State House publicly.
Yes.
And President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu declared 18th of October as a day of prayer. Will you rubbish that to be a political gathering or prayers with no meaning?
It was something we were reflecting on, saying these decisions that our leaders make, they are not entirely their personal decisions. They should be respected because these are decisions that are made collectively by Zambians, or at least they represent the voice of Zambians. So it is not up to a president to wake up and decide to interpret the voice of the people according to his whimsical feelings. It is wrong. We should respect the voice of the people. If somebody doesn't want to worship, I think they should know that Zambia is beyond them. Zambia is beyond me. If Zambians want to worship on the 18th, I should respect that. And being their leader, I should lead by example for their sake. Leadership, as you know, is a path that is very sacrificial. It's not that when you as a leader, you don't feel like praying, that the whole church won't pray. I think there are days you have not been feeling well and you haven't come to church. But church has gone on. And when you have the opportunity, you have shown the people that you support what they are doing. There could be fasting. You are not feeling well, you don't fast. But the day that you feel well, you jump on and show the people how to fast. So I feel the president, by virtue of his positioning, even in the kingdom setup, these are heads and they are mandated with responsibility and grace. I look forward to a day when you have those prayers and we'll have a president that will lead us, not that every time, but a particular year, that he will lead us and help people see how it should be done right.
The Bible is very clear that you cannot give what you don't have.
Yeah.
That is the Bible. I'm asking this because President KASONDE, me, I'm very clear in my presentation, my disposition. Anyone who will ever be president in Zambia and they don't recognize the Lordship of Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter who. My life is hid in God. I would rather disagree with such a president because without God, this nation would not be where we are and enjoying the peace that we enjoy as you alluded to. That's why I've asked you, because a few years from now, or 2026, you become president and you want to change goalposts. I'll go to our file and record this and play it to say, President KASONDE, you said this, but how come you are changing?
Yes, I think those are things that personally I do not have qualms or debates with. I'm not the perfect of sorts. I have my own shortcomings. But where decisions of knowing where I stand as regards my Christianity, that is unshakable. That is cast in concrete. There are no negotiations. I'll respect what I believe in. I'll respect what other people believe in. But for me to be so ambitious as to want to override the will of the people that have chosen to worship, that I impose them with my carnality, maybe because somebody somewhere is promising me some favor, is promising me to help me. If that was the case, for information, right now we could be struggling to meet some of our needs, but it is not far. I have received big offers of big money if only I can just be part of people that are advocating for homosexuality. I've received those and I have them on my email. So it's not like we have never been tempted. People have never tossed to us. These people that you see succumbing to some things that are strange, that are obnoxious, it's not that they are the only ones who are given those carrots. Those carrots come to us too. We are where we are. We are struggling the way we are struggling, not because we have not seen the opportunities that they see as opportunities, but it's because of our understanding of the implications of us succumbing. There's some EFF, for instance, which have succumbed to recognizing the LGBT rights, the gay rights and everything. In Zambia, we said no. We could all be Pan-Africanists. We could all believe in a successful Africa, but to us, those rights are alien. We believe in the sanctity of what God has put across us, and that a man shall marry a woman. I think we'll not tolerate. If you have your money, keep your money. We have refused money. I can show you all my emails here. I received that in 2016 when I was standing. They said, you are a young man, you are coming up well. Would want to work with you for you to move this agenda. I said, no. So these things that we are saying, and some people even want to make it look like maybe it's a circumstance that they find themselves in when they're in power, that they end up succumbing to some practices. It is not entirely true. It is not entirely true, because some of these things that they fall for, we also see them. We just refuse.
Well, I'm glad that part is behind me, because from President Kaunda, President Chiluba, I'm not a new preacher on the block. I've always said there's coming a time in this nation when every president should show the people of Zambia who is his pastor. Which church does he belong to? Whatever, mosque, Hindu, whatever. Because if President KASONDE, you don't have a pastor, nobody speaks into your life, we are going to raise another Idi Amin. We are going to raise another dictator. I believe that you as a president, you can't intimidate me. No. I respect your calling, the office of a president, but when you go wrong, the church should be there to say, President KASONDE, here you have blown it. This is what I believe in, without you intimidating me. You see, even members of parliament, they should be men and women of strength to say we are Africans, these are our values, these are our cultural beliefs, period. With or without aid, we believe in this. But Sometimes Africa nowadays is raising riffraffs who can vote for anything as long as they are in the house, as long as they are somewhere. Yeah. And that's a danger which Africa is having.
Yes. Yes.
Someone said, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, whatever, these Muslim countries, they don't believe in LGBT. They don't even preach it. You go there, your head will come in a briefcase. Nobody talks about them, these superpowers. But for Ugandan president to say no to such things, sanctions, and yet there are other countries who don't, they will kill you, but him is undergoing sanctions and all this. But that's a topic for another day. As an opposition leader, are you just there to oppose to everything the government is doing?
It is not the case, and I know, as a matter of fact, most of the times when we are seen out there, we are seen as people that are opposing. And we oppose quite a lot. And little do we do to support and agree. I think sometimes we are forced into that sphere because we are in a system where people who are supposed to be giving fair advice, for instance, to the president, have reached a level where they have even named themselves praise singers. So it's like we have a shortage of people that can give a word that is an alternative, that is different. We know when they do good, they have more than enough people to thank them, to congratulate them. So in an effort to balance up the voice, we choose deliberately sometimes just to be quiet when we see they do good. Not because we don't agree with the good, but people should have a problem when they see the government do good and we condemn the good. Then there's a problem. But I would appreciate if they respected our silence, because we don't want sometimes to be misunderstood by the masses and to be gotten out of context, because it's a kind of a situation where, for instance, sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to commend some actions, because sometimes those actions which are good are just cherries on a bad cake. And we don't want to fall in a trap of endorsing a bad scheme just because it had a good leaf. So we try sometimes to be very careful, because unlike many other people who are common masses, they are not privy to some information. But sometimes we have been privileged that we have information and an understanding of some of the things, such that even when we see a small light, we know down it is darkness. It's just being used to windhoek people. So knowing the true extent of the bad, we try by all means not to also start singing, because we know the real essence of what's doing. We are privileged to know the motive. I know people like you cannot be lied to. You can see when a person comes and then is saying all the good things, you can read the motive. So sometimes these are people we mingle with. We see their deals, we see the things they do, and when they come and show that they mean well, they would lie to people that, no, we're doing this deal because we want Zambia to be exporting, and then you're telling people, for instance, we have opened the corridors for you to export your maize. Now the people you're telling that you have opened the corridors to export, you haven't even given them licenses to trade. And the people who have got the licenses to trade are the people that are rich, are the people that are already in government. And you expect...
Are you referring to UPND or MMD or UNIP? To be specific.
Of course, I was giving a real example of things that we encounter. I have been dominant in this new Dawn government or the UPND. I know that's when a lot of people are hearing about us in this new Dawn government. Probably it's just season. We would have been talking. We have done things. I was arrested. I don't know how many times in the former president Edgar Lungu's government. During Mr. Rupia Banda's government. I was even expelled from university where I was a student union president. So it's not now that we are beginning to criticize, but maybe in the fullness of time, this is now our season that our voice could also be heard. So what I'm giving an example is what is happening in this contemporary government. They opened up the gates, say, we told them, you deplete the maize. No, we want to open up so that people can be, but have you given people licenses? No. What kind of people are trading? I had to engage even the minister, the cabinet minister of commerce.
Motolo. Oh, Minister
of Commerce. I had to engage them, say, what is this that people are doing? You know, we talk to these people, so we have an understanding to know what's happening behind the scenes. And us will not go and start praising. Say, no, you have done what to open. Say, but this will only benefit the elites. The real people who suffer, you will cause a shortage of maize. And it's our local people that won't have. So sometimes, most times, we don't praise because we have information that in the deep of the scheme, the people are not even considered. They're just being used as a pawn to a big game.
Every president and every government, they come on the platform saying they will fight corruption. They will end hunger. Zero tolerance to corruption. MMD did that. PF did that. Those they saved and they are gone. We know where they went wrong, where they went right. Let's talk about the current government, because even when you are playing soccer, the defenders or players, they don't tackle everybody. They tackle the one with the ball. So now that with the boys with MMD, is there corruption in this government? And if there is, would you have evidence to it that this government, in some pockets, they are corrupt?
I would not miss my words when it comes to understanding how this new Dawn government is working. Because most of the people that are serving currently are not strangers to people like me. These are people that I know. These are people that I know their background, where they're coming from. And a good number of them have not started to tolerate corruption now. Even where they are coming from, we can trace their actions that are deeply embedded in greed. They want to amass everything to themselves, even at the expense of the majority people. This is a record that a lot of people who are serving actively in this government has. This government, according to our own observation, will go down as one of the most corrupt. These have got the ability to imbibe corruption. Unfortunately, it is so institutionalized that the people who are supposed to be the custodians of protecting the people's interests, unfortunately, are in the driving seat of corruption. In this government, we had a privilege to compile a deep dossier that was showing how this government has performed ever since they came in this government. Because earlier when we told them, we had gotten wind of some corrupt practices, especially in the Ministry of Agriculture. We reported to them, they brushed it off. They said, bring evidence. I don't know where they got that phrase, bring evidence. We went out of our way to collect a dossier of serious information that is embedded in fact, not hearsay. I'm a man of integrity. At least let them try me and see where I'm coming from. I've lived my integrity. We took this dossier to Anti-Corruption Commission. At first, I think they took it lightly. But when they opened it, they saw that in that dossier, there is even a record that is showing of corruption that was sanctioned by State House. Right from the door drums of State House, instructions were coming, asking the payers at Ministry of Agriculture to pay companies that had been illegally employed, that were managing, for instance, FISIP. They were paid before they could even have a certificate of any deliverables. We saw how companies like Alpha Commodities were erroneously and corruptly employed, given a contract to supply beyond even the tender price. Even when the price, for instance, of fertilizer was reduced for nitrogen chemicals, Alpha Commodities was adamant enough, disregarded even the guidance of the ministry, and still managed to supply, making an excess of even 12 million out of taxpayers' money. Dollars.
Wow.
That dossier in itself, the approximation goes to an extent of $189 million, dollars, not kwacha, of money that was being given irregularly, corruptly, in this new Dawn government. This is not hearsay. This is something I have stood up, presented a dossier to Anti-Corruption Commission. It took them 3 months before they could formally respond to me. They responded to me last week, and they gave me a letter where they finally acknowledged that they are working on it. Of course, it was indicated secret. That barred us now from exposing it to the media. But at least they had finally acknowledged. Now we are afraid, because we did not intend that they should just acknowledge that they work on it. Our interest was that they should fight this corruption. So we are highly aggrieved, because our interest is not for them to start saying, we know. That's why we took that evidence to them. It's because we know there's corruption. But we should want to see that corruption is being fought genuinely. Otherwise, what they're doing, they're joking. This government is imbibing, is brooding. And very soon, this corruption will hatch, and it will spread. Its tentacles will spread almost every section.
So, let me ask this, President Kasonde. I don't know. Again, this is my personal observation. In UNIP, let me excuse UNIP, because Dr. Kaunda was very serious with the leadership code. He would fire people in the morning, you know, without apologies. But the era of Dr. Kaunda, may so rest in peace, is gone. Then came our brother, Dr. Chiluba, may so rest in peace. From MMD, PF, and now UPND. Why is it that the anti-corruption, DEC, and anti-corruption, DEC, and
Financial intelligence,
these, and there is one I've left out anyway. Why is it that they don't arrest people when they are in power? They follow them after they leave power, like it is the case now. Most of the PF people are answering to the charges from the same anti-corruption. When they were there, they didn't know that the things are going on?
Yes. It is premised from the decay of our morals, even us as leaders that are sent to these offices. Politicians know the weakness of our law. And our law is fashioned in such a way that it puts a lot of responsibility on the president. It amasses a lot of appointing power, controlling power in the executive. So the president is a demigod in the running of government affairs. So we are left at the mercy of the goodwill of the Republican president. So if you have a Republican president who imbibes corruption, who tolerates corruption, who feeds off corruption, who tolerates corruption, like the case can be now. Our president tolerates corruption. So when you have a leader that tolerates corruption, when he has got so much power to preside over these things, know that all systems will take over from his color. This has got a disadvantage, but it also has an advantage, the weakness of our law. Imagine if you had a good leader who has got integrity, who's principled. It means using his authority, his appointing power, it would rub off to ACC, it would rub off to DEC, it would rub off to the judiciary, it would show the character. So because of these inherent compromises, our government is just a reflection of what kind of head of state we have. So if you see a government is sinking in corruption, just know that the head of state is corrupt. No debate. That's why some other states, some other leaders have been magnanimous and have said, no. Instead of us having a government that takes on the court of the president, let's standardize this. Let's make these institutions be able to stand alone on their own, regardless of the character of a leader. Because maybe giving so much power on the character of a leader, if you have a bad leader, you make bad institutions. So we look forward to a time when a president, President Hakainde Hichilema, when he was in opposition, was very vocal. He was saying he's going to dilute some powers of the president. He's going to make this institution run independent. What does he do? He went into office. The first thing President Hakainde Hichilema did was to co-opt even Anti-Corruption Commission, put it under the office of the president. That's greed. That's total greed.
He brought it
under the office of the president. That is greed. People are thinking, when we raise this issue, people are saying, no, he wants to fight corruption. He wants to be the man who's overseeing. That is the assumption of the law, how it was prepared. That if a president wants to fight corruption, he has got so much power. We told them, no. As we know President Hakainde Hichilema, nothing personal. On principle, we know him. He doesn't have the gravamen to fight corruption. He doesn't have the teeth. He doesn't have the discipline. He doesn't have the backbone. Nothing personal. Out of respect, he doesn't have that. How do we know that? We see where it's coming from. He has presided over skirmishes of what happened in our privatization. We can't forget that chapter of his life. It's part of his life. Some people don't want us to talk about privatization. That is his trademark. People brought President Hakainde Hichilema to government. They thought probably that is his past. Probably has reformed. It's not that Zambians didn't know his past. It's not that Zambians didn't know about his greedy past. When he sided with the Americans and then we sold our estates for a song. Zambians know that. Even us, we know that. But trust me, by 2021, I personally thought probably that is the old Hakainde Hichilema. He has reformed. He will now use his cleverness, his tact to make money. He will translate that into making the country benefit from his skill. People say he's a rich man. I don't know. But people, most Zambians, were wicked into believing that if this man can make money for himself, then he definitely would make a good president, because now he will make money for the country. That was the common understanding of a Zambian. Alas, what are we seeing? It's like now the poor are getting poorer. It's only those who are around him, those who are in the inside of the system that are benefiting. He is not extending the privileges. When they talk about CDF, they sugarcoat it, and Zambians think they can benefit from CDF. Which CDF are they benefiting from? It has been put at a place where they cannot reach. I'm talking right now. There is not even one local authority, any local council, which has received funding.
Are you serious?
No, zero. Not even one council has received funding for it to run its affairs. This they can go and check. And if I'm lying, let them come and arrest me tomorrow.
What about these many vehicles that we saw being distributed for CDF? What are they for if the councils haven't received?
This is where, as you had asked me, say, why don't you commend people when they do these things? Some of us are privileged, we're able to see. So they knew that by parading those cars, people would be misled to thinking they are buying. Even when somebody wants to scam you, they won't come with a threatening voice. Actually, they will even ask you, hey, my sister, can I help you lift those things you are? And I will help you. But their interest is not helping you.
It's to run away with your money. It's
to run away with your money. So the same, when we saw them buying those cars, those automobiles, to a commoner, they will think money has arrived. Now, let me ask, who will be driving those things? They are saying they will be monitoring. How can you monitor CDF, which you have not been taking account of? This government has not been taking stock. This is the second day of running of CDF. Ask them, can you show us the breakdown of what CDF has did in the previous and what it has done, how much and what it has done? It's unaudited. Right now, there are no accounts of CDF which are audited. How do you run CDF kwatikantemba, hand to mouth? You can't take 28.3 million, and you refuse to audit it. You refuse to account for it, and you call yourself an economist. So we have seen this CDF now being used just as a conduit to manipulate the perception of people. People, when they see a car, they think probably money has been released. Yes, it has been released for your car, but has money been released for your welfare? If this government really cared to look after people, why hasn't it bought medicines in hospitals? Because that's where we all go. If it cared, why?
Are you saying some of the people who come on this set, they say that there is no medicine in the hospital? That has been the cry. Is it a political lamentation, or it's a fact that there is no medicine in the hospital?
This is a fact that, first and foremost, this government, as arrogant as it can be, I wish I had a better word, but sometimes they need to be told for what they are so that they feel the pain. For what it is, they refused in parliament, say, no, we are adequately stocked. It took a parliamentary committee to go around and told them that we are understocked. I remember the actual words of the Minister of Health, Madame Masebo. She chastened the presenter of that committee and said, you have missed an opportunity to advise our government. And I was like, she's telling a select committee that they have missed an opportunity to advise her. So you need to have an opportunity to advise Madame Masebo. Those are actual words. You can go and check the parliamentary. And I was saying, this madam, how is she not seeing that she's the one missing an opportunity to be advised of what is happening? 3 months later, that's when they were now acknowledging and saying, no, their medicines, of course, we are operating below the World Health Organization required standards. We're supposed to be stocked up to 60%. We are stocked somewhere below 40. That's where we are up to now. We have never met the thresholds, even now as we are talking. So it's not a political stance. I personally went around Lusaka. Somebody can go check on my Facebook. I was inspecting hospitals. They don't even have, in some hospitals, they don't even have Coartem.
No.
Essential drugs are not there. We do spot on check hospital by hospital. You go check. I went to UTH last time. I found they didn't even have reagents. They just have to look at symptoms for them to know what problem you are suffering from, because the reagents run out and no one cares to buy. So these are not political issues. Sometimes the government can be arrogant. I pray you'll be nearby to rebuke me when that time comes, when I equally become arrogant. Because it is unfortunate that...
You mean when you become president?
Definitely. I pray that I'll be humble. And please remind me when that time comes, so that I can also remind my colleagues when we form government, when God allows it, that we will not be arrogant. That when people raise issues, we'll be able to listen. We will not be defending even things that we don't know. Look, I'll give an example. In this country, what is the literacy level? Our literacy level is below 40. Majority of our Zambians can't read. That's our literacy levels. And then when somebody says, people can't read graph, and you know you're insulting. No! People can't read graphs. Go and check how many Zambians are educated. So you tell me somebody who's not educated, who can't read, can read a graph. But when people advise, say, no, look, people won't understand these things. No, you're insulting. Hey, I'll take you for free education. That's arrogance. That's not leadership.
The father who said, I want to tabalia graph.
In fact, yes, the father probably was on a podium that he could be seen. There are many people that said that. Everyone was saying that. I believe even you were wondering, you could understand because you are highly educated. You are among the 1% of the Zambian people. In Zambia, if you look at the population of people that have reached, this data they have, how many people have reached grade 12 in Zambia? Compare it. Our numbers are bad. So now let's tell me a person who reached only grade 2 can read the graph. And those are our majority people. So when people say people can't read the graph, hey, you are a Lucifer, hey, no. That level of arrogance can't help us. I think leadership requires that we are humble.
Wait a minute. What you are bringing here, I don't know who was telling me that one of the fathers or priests was called the Lucifer of Zambia.
You know, it took us taking these matters. We noticed they were skyrocketing and getting out of hand, that we needed to have discipline. This is not a kangaroo bush. This is a country with laws. Last week on Friday, we had to report the Secretary General for the UPND, Mr.
Batuke
Imenda. We had to report him to the police. Because even in a country, a democracy like ours, where people have divergent views, he went overboard and started calling the Archbishop of Lusaka,
Father Banda?
Yeah, Father Alik Banda. He said, no, it's a Lucifer of Zambia who wants to divide the country. I think those kind of extremism should not be tolerated. No one called by MWENDA Lucifer. There are so many things. We understand they could be hate. They could have been fighting where they're coming from. But we should never, in this country, degrade ourselves to a level where we allow a few people to have no regard for their fellow leaders. But Bishop, he presides over Lusaka Diocese, Chipata. That is a man of stature. You don't go on a government podium and you start calling them Lucifers. It took priests calling some of us and said, as we are not in politics, can you politicians move this, take it? I was written to. People complain and say, Kasonde, you are among those who are reasonable. How should this find logical conclusion? Can you go to police and report this? I said, yes, I'll take on this responsibility.
So you reported to police?
I reported, and up to now, the police have failed to move. They have failed to even some, because what was supposed to happen is when we reported, the police were very professional. They reported, when we reported, it took us 2 hours. They took statements. They went even in the occurrence book, put it there. We were given the OB number. It is 70/17. 70/17/23. 7017/23. That's the occurrence book record of our complaint. It was so professional. I should commend the Woodlands. They did a good job. Now, they were supposed to summon him, record a warn and caution statement, arrest him, and then make arrangements for bond. But look, the arrogance of power. Under this new Dawn government, where there is no regard for the rule of law, they have failed to call MWENDA. They have failed to call Mr. MWENDA to warn and caution him. Who is Mr. MWENDA? Who is just Secretary General of a political party? But they can easily call a president like me and arrest me like a common dog. I remember how they threw me in a Kasaranga and threw me in those filthy cells at Central for simply having a procession that I even had permission for. But they are unable to call Mr. Batuka MWENDA because he is in the ruling government. They are failing to question him. Police are failing to question a mayor, Secretary General. And then we have a president who's saying he has restored rule of law. Where? Where? I remember for hate speech, President Hakainde Hichilema took personal and called the member of parliament. That is Mr. And he called him this being mischievous. No.
Yeah.
The gentleman. He called him, when he talked about Bengwa and the people from his place, he called him being mischievous. But when he's on, he's calling people Lucifer. The president is quiet. He does not condemn that.
He hasn't commented.
He hasn't commented. He hasn't commented. Probably now he's celebrating that call them Lucifers. That is hate speech according to our law. If you check in the Penal Code Act, that's section 70, subsection 1. 89, chapter 89 of our laws of Zambia, it forbids that you cannot advance hate speech on people by virtue of their origin. Just because they're Catholic, you want to call them Lucifers. That is against the law. And we are waiting. The country is watching. We see what will happen now. That they are on. But they are not people who respect the law. It's very unfortunate.
So you went to complain so that they can arrest him, and is that criminal when you insult me? What about President Hakainde Hichilema? Hasn't he removed, I don't know what section of the law, defamation of the president, he has removed that?
Yes, actually, the defamation of the president, that is a clause that comes right on top of that. That should be 69. Now, this other one of hate speech is still intact. And they used it against Munia Zuru. I've remembered the name. They used it against Munia Zuru and made sure they arrested Munia Zuru, threw him in cells immediately. Expeditiously, he was locked up for using hate speech, according to them. But Batuka MWENDA has used hate speech, and they are praising him. So we have a government that does not respect the rule of law and have got a different set of the people that belong to the UPND and another set for us who don't belong to the UPND. We reported corruption. It took us 3 months for them to acknowledge receipt. And yet, when they hear corruption is being perpetuated by other people who are not part of UPND, they fly. They relish that. So we feel we have a government which is highly hypocritical. And unless we come to an understanding that we need to be people that are colorblind, that are political blind in dispensing justice, our country will sink to Ebb's Law. We are going backwards. I wish they knew, Zambians knew that when they were promising us forward, they meant taking us backwards.
Wow. We look forward to seeing the police becoming professional on that matter. And I think for me, as a preacher, you can play your politics, but don't tamper with men of God. From time immemorial, once you begin targeting church, once you begin targeting men of God and saying things, and women of God, I can tell you that it doesn't sit well, because when you target Father Banda, you are targeting bishops also in Catholic, in Pentecostal, you are taking on the church. So you as politicians, I can only advise you respect the church.
Sure.
And when you are in power, know your limits, how you handle the church. That's what I can just say. I want you to comment something on Mopani. This issue, KCM, what is it that it's coming on, coming down? Anything to say on KCM? Mopani?
We are a country that is predominantly dependent on copper exports. That's why when we see the president, for lack of better terms, going around bringing graphs to show that we are rising as a country, any Zambian who is observant knows that those are jokes. When your copper production is low, this government, when it came in, it was promising that it will reach 3,000 metric tons as their target. Alas, Mopani, they said they will quench that confusion there. KCM, they will sit down and resolve it. They have been telling us just next month. But you cannot resolve the problem that we have at KCM and Mopani if you do not have a heart for the people of Zambia, if you do not have the backbone and the interests of the majority of Zambians. If you are going into that fiasco with the intention for you also to be privately a beneficiary, if you want to be cutting corners, bringing investors that you feel will be friendly to you, you cannot move. This government has been failing to reach consensus on how we should handle Mopani and KCM because they have failed to just let go and let that facility be benefiting Zambians. They want to make sure as they are progressing to the next person to take over it, they also progress with that person so that they have got personal interests. Look, when a problem is there on the table, and they say he who comes to equity should come with clean hands.
Clean hands.
If the government was to be less greedy and just let the right things be done, that problem at KCM can be solved within a month. But if you want the changing of hands to favor you so that you also have a stake, you want your friends to come and run that so that you're also benefiting, like what we have seen. So in the end, you spend most of your time looking for investors, not those that move the agenda of Zambians, but you're looking for investors that you know you'll be a beneficiary. As a result, you'll be procrastinating, you'll be wasting that time. If you look at Mopani, it has got the capacity to make over $2 billion US per year, if you do your calculation. We have got there a lot of facilities that can make us make it of money. Projections are that we can make over $2 billion US by Mopani alone. It can even pay our Eurobond. It can pay all this which we call our debt. But the problem is that people who are going to negotiate that want to have deals with people that are coming, so that when they come in, I worked in Solwezi for a long time, for instance. I worked there. And I could see what used to happen when politicians visit. My friend was, the one I was living with, was working for the bank. I remember every time a politician comes, the president in particular, the bank will run out of dollar notes. Because the mine owners, Kansanshi and others, they will go and draw money and give briefcase of money to the president. Now, the problem is that those people who we give to run these mines, they are investors and they come to make money. And they don't care about the Zambian people. They don't care about the morals. They don't care. But provided they're able to make their money, they are fine. So people that take over, like this new government that's coming, we see them also going in the same vein, making sure that they bring investors that will be giving them kickbacks. Unfortunately, these investors don't want to make losses. So they'll make sure that the money that they're giving to investors, the country is losing out. Look how we have lost money in this CMIH, where we have converted our share holding, and then we have lost it to, we have lost out our stake of dividends to royalties. If I show you the graph of how low we are receiving dividends right now, we have moved from 2002, where we were receiving an excess of $122 million to a paltry $70 million. That's how much we are receiving as a country from the mines in dividends. 70 million from 123 million. Yes, in 2022, 2021. So we are barely surviving. We are losing money. And right now, this country, Zambia, is surviving crusade wa kwalesa. People are thinking this government is putting anything. It's not putting anything. Right now, we are surviving because we have debt. They promise they'll come and restructure debt. And in the process of restructuring debt, they're coming on board of the IMF, who they misled Zambians that they are coming with a diamond bullet, that they will shoot in our debt and it will disperse. And beyond, they used to call it bailout package. This came. The benefit that we got from the IMF is that debt repayment was frozen. We don't repay debt right now. Ever since President Hakainde Hichilema came in, we haven't been paying debt. That's the money, because the IMF has frozen our paying of debt as we negotiate for debt restructure. So this is a time when Zambia has got so much money because we're not paying debt. And if they were wise, they should have had a sinking fund, because those debtors, once this window is closed, God allowing we have debt restructuring, they will demand that we pay. But this government, this is the money they're tossing, playing around, flying every day with. It's because they've got money before them. They haven't even been telling Zambia that they're not paying. They're not paying. No debt servicing. There is no debt servicing that is happening. Debt servicing has been frozen. So the question is, where is the money that was supposed to be servicing the debt going? This is a time when
we're supposed to... Is that a fact to President Kasonde?
It's a fact.
Is it a fact that we are not paying debt?
No. It's a fact.
And where is the money going then?
Those are the questions that this new Dawn government should be answering. They are not answering. And they are lying to people. No, Barry will fix it. Barry is not even paying for our debt. And Zambians need to know, because Nkongolita Shibola, at an opportune time, this debt we are not paying, the debtors will demand for it. Zambia, we should appreciate one thing. Me, I don't even have mercy. Because when we were all running, I ran to stand as president for this republic. We knew what kind of an economy we were going to inherit. You can't inherit this government and start saying, no, but you know, when you are standing as president, you knew you are going to inherit a country which has got debt. And we all campaigned on the premise that we sort out the debt problem. So for anyone to be cantankerous and try to shift the blame entirely on the past as if they didn't know, it's like you go to marry. You know that the woman you are about to marry, God forbid, cannot give you children. Then when you marry them, start condemning, I know she can't give me children, she can't. Why did you marry her? We all knew the debt situation of this country when we were running to be president. We all floated our agenda. This new government, the new Dawn government, said they are the solution. They will solve it. Now when they go in, they start blaming, no, it's got too much debt. They should have let some of us Kanshiru, because us probably were the genuine problem. Yes, we knew and would have been honest.
So is it wrong to be referring to say the ones who did this, Niba PF, the ones who did this, Niba PF, is it wrong?
Who doesn't know? Why should they tell Zambians? Zambians don't know. Zambians gave this new Dawn government the mandate to run this government because they said no to the PF. Now this government should become lecturers to be lecturing Zambians about PF. It's the people that decided that they should run. People know PF better than this new government. So they shouldn't become lecturers telling us about PF. We know. People voted for them because they knew. So now people already know. So they shouldn't even waste our time telling us about PF. PF is in the background. We all chose to stand and offer guidance to this country because it was dilapidated, and we said we had solution. Why was he saying he's going to fix it if it was not broken? He campaigned on the premise that to fix it. Now he's complaining that no, it's broken. So what was he thinking he was going to fix? Was he going to fix an economy that wasn't broken?
Probably the damage or the extent of the damage was not known.
There was no one who didn't know. The debt that we knew we are owing China 6 billion. It has never changed. We knew all the Eurobonds, they were publicized. We knew how much we were owing. If he didn't know, then it is his ignorance. That he didn't do due diligence for him to know what he was inheriting. Now you start blaming your husband that he can't give me children. Why didn't you not know? So now there are things that we need to know. And when you marry the state, you don't start wasting time now blaming, pointing. You should have had a plan on how to come out of this problem. We told him, don't rush to the IMF. Do a bilateral talk with China. We have seen how Ethiopia did it. They wrote them off part of their 12 billion, which they had double how much we are owing China. Up to now, this government has failed to go to China. They wanted to go to China through USA. How do you ask China to meet you by asking America to ask for you? We are a sovereign state. We are not an perpetual extension of the US. This is now when they are saying, no, we have been put on a waiting list. I should commend China. Even me, if I was president, somebody first wastes my time, talks to my adversary, and decides to think about me at the last minute, I would also put them on the waiting list. Look at DRC Congo. Last month, they were given a red carpet by China.
Yes.
They were welcomed. President Hakainde Hichilema up to now, is on waiting list. Because even things that is not supposed to be poking his interests in, provided it is mandated by the West, he wants to jump in, even if it's to the detriment of the people of Zambia. So we need some level of decorum. We need some level of discipline at that office. I know there are few people who can tell the president that we need discipline. Some of us are privileged. And we do not take this privilege lightly. That's why we are using it to tell that office needs some level of discipline.
You are privileged because you can't be fired.
Yes, because I can't be fired.
When you are around the president, as a minister, as a advisor,
yes,
the stomach is important than advising the president, because you may get your right foot of fellowship if he kicks you. So most of the people, why they fail to advise, their interest is the tummy first and the privileges that come with that. This is why you find somebody will be a minister. Yes, yes, president. Yes, yes. The moment they are fired, then they say, no, me, I didn't agree. Me, I didn't. It's different from people like President Harry Kalaba, who resigned as Minister of Foreign Affairs when he was not kicked and said, no, I can't agree to this. You have few people who are principled like that. But the reason why you can advise the president is because he can't fire you. You have your own bread. Others are dependent on the state house to buy a jacket.
Yeah, but I think they are being unfair. They are called to offer guidance. Now, if your job is to give guidance and then you're not giving guidance, then you're being very unfair. But they are being very unfair to the president and to the country.
Have you had your personal time to seek an appointment with the president to advise him on the things you are saying on media?
Many times.
Has he given you the opportunity?
I don't think he has the time.
No. Have you written to him?
Yes. Several times.
And you handed the letter to?
Several times. I've written to State House several times. I've honored even his invitation to State House many times when there are functions, and I think he enjoys to see us as pets in the congregation sitting watching him do his deliberation. But he has never engaged the opposition up to now. This is the president who's clocking 2 years. He's never had a single meeting with the opposition. Really? A single meeting. No, he's never.
But what about the alliance, those who are in the alliance with UPND?
Wow, those are in the alliance. They are an extension of UPND. They are not opposition. Those are part of fabric. Fipu na MWENDA. So we, us who tell him for what it is and we speak the pain of the people of Zambia, he's afraid to meet us. He's afraid. Me, if I were president, I want to meet the opposition. Say, hey guys, what's the issue? He's never talked to any one of us. He doesn't. We write to him. He doesn't even, for me, I've never even acknowledged receiving my letter. You just put there, they receive, you go. Okay.
I want to play a clip. On one of the forums, I was so interested to watch our former Attorney General, Musa Mwenye, by the way, who is a very wonderful Christian. I know him personally. I've met him several times. And he said something on one platform and one also on movie TV. But when you combine the statement that he brought, they will make a very good interest for us to discuss.
Sure.
I want to call my director to give me that clip, and I want you to hear what Musa Mwenye said. My director.
Those of us who choose to enter these public offices should be open to accountability. When you are in public office, you are not a private person. There is no privacy. If you drive a Range Rover, we want to know where you got the money. Because you are in public office. If you wear a Rolex, we want to know where you got the money. Otherwise, you don't qualify to serve, and you shouldn't serve in those offices.
You can't become a millionaire out of serving in government. How have you done it? How have you done it without abusing your position? If people want to be business people, go and do business. If you want to serve the people, serve the people. That payslip is public. You are a journalist, go on a Boboman or someone, ask him for his payslip. You are entitled. He's serving you, the people. Seek for that information and check. Go and get my payslip. I can give you the payslip I was getting. I don't think I ever got anything more than 30,000 kwacha as a net salary in that office.
Have you heard those remarks?
Those are very interesting remarks.
I got this clip, fortunately, late afternoon from West Indies, where one of the leaders in the church said, Pastor Chiruba, Zambia is a great country. From West Indies, Edith Oladele, I'm sure she's watching this broadcast. She said Zambia is a wonderful nation where leaders declare their assets and their public, private assets. They make known to the nation. And she was very thankful. And she said, is this man telling the truth? I said, he's a man of integrity. I know him personally. And then she says, I'm happy with your country. I didn't comment. Do leaders declare their assets? He said, if you have a Range Rover, you must state how you got it. Don't just hide and say, no, I'm a public what?
I had even such discussions with the learned colleague, State Council Musa Mwenye, and these are not people we don't talk to. These are people we talk to. And it's very unfortunate that they are part and parcel of a system that is doing the very things that they say they don't believe in. I am really at pains. After watching that clip, I'm troubled because two cannot work together unless they agree. That's what the Bible says. And I'm getting now concerned because these are serving under the hospice of the president who has refused to declare his assets. So what are they serving? They are saying he has spoken very strong words. He said he does not deserve to be a leader. Now, how is it that he's allowing the person who does not deserve to be a leader to be his leader? So I become concerned personally when the things that we proclaim to be things that we believe in become simple rhetoric, that when they are connected to the batter, when they are connected to our means in society, we fail to be brave enough to condemn them. He condemned that in the PF. Why is he not condemning that when his entire boss, President Hakainde Hichilema, is refusing? And yet he's confidently and comfortably, he's my colleague, I respect him, my learned colleague. Why is he comfortably serving? So I think unless we reach, unless we reach a level where people who are called to the faith, believe in the faith, believe in Christ, should be bold enough to say, if I will not be part of it. But if we will be in our closets saying this and in the other breath, blessing that is to the person, and we are bringing shame to the family of Christ. We should be that radical enough to be saying, no. I appreciate it, but I cannot be part.
So are you saying that ministers have not declared their assets?
Unfortunately, some have, some have, some haven't. If the head cannot declare, it renders everybody who has declared, even under him, of no effect. Because we want to see transparency, accountability, as Bamusa Mwenya has put it. We want it to be, that's why you're a leader, because you are leading. Now, what are you leading? If you are not leading by example. So I'm really at pains, and I think I'll send this video to him tomorrow. I'm really at pains. I didn't know it was this detailed. I've heard him talk about lifestyle audit. He challenged me. I didn't want to respond back to him. He said, Kasonde, between you and me, I can challenge you. I've never gotten anything. I can challenge you to a lifestyle audit. Even you can't stand. I didn't want to tell him that, no, you don't know how I've lived my life. I respected his judgment because he thought maybe me, I can't handle lifestyle audit. Na kwata fenjinga. And a few cards. So, I've never worked for government. I'm a registered architect. I don't even tender. Because I know for you to get a contract in government, a construction contract, you need to be a criminal. Only thieves get contracts from government. Especially, I'm very sure.
Are you serious?
I'm a senior registered architect. I know these systems. I once even had a short stint as president for Zambian Institute of Architects. So I'm not speaking from a point of ignorance. But I'm a kickbacks. It's dirty. It's been dirty. For me, they have gotten contracts from my hands like this just because I refuse to pay a bribe. It's happening even in this government. It is dirty. And unless we reach a level where we start acknowledging this dirtiness, we call it for what it is. That's when we can make reforms. If you think, I'm not boasting, but on record, I'm one of the finest. I work very hard.
Really?
Competition, I've even had competition where I've come out the best architect in this country. Now you tell me a best architect cannot get a contract based on competition unless he gives a kickback. Anyone who gets contract in this country should stand up to me and tell me that they get construction companies without paying kickbacks. I'll stop being EFF president.
So they are not clean.
They are not clean. They are not there. They don't exist.
Department for maize, for this, for me to win a tender to do Kabwe Road or Chipata Road, there has to be some kickback.
There has to be kickbacks. Maybe you may not have the kickback today, but tomorrow you need to do a kickback for you to stay in that system. It's impossible. No one should lie. It's impossible to do business if you're not corrupt.
And who gets those kickbacks?
Wow, it's a disease. People get kickbacks at almost every level. Even the secretary who takes your file would want to have a kickback. The people that are leaking the tender prices will get a kickback. The people that are adjudicating. Not long ago, something really happened. There was a tender that was opened. They wanted an architect to design some apartment. And it was a selective tender. And my name showed up. and they were supposed to give us a concept to compete. You know what they did? It was foreign sponsored. They knew that if they take it to competition, some of us, we need money. So we work like animals. We work like animals. We work literally like animals. That's why if somebody bashima people tells you that to ali banishibatu be peshafi tulabomba now for my exam, I was writing exams for me to come here. I'm tired. I just had to take a nap for a few minutes. Nama 2 hours to la
for you to come
for
to
me to come
interview.
for this interview.
Yeah.
It's because the system is not rewarding. There are Zambians who are working out there. But dividing to me, I can play you an audio from Sakanya. They are saying, today we are truck drivers. Some called me saying, you know what? Today chula. But we are capable Zambians. We fail to come because no matter what we do in our country, there is no system that rewards our hard work. They insult our people saying, it's time for work. Do they know what that is? It's time for steal. Those who genuinely want to work, there is no room for you to work. It's not possible. It's not possible to work in Zambia clean. It's not possible.
Is there no tender board, Zambia National Tender Board, like the one who Teddy Mulonga was presiding over many years ago, where everything is above board? They don't select on the basis of which party you belong to, who is the owner of this tender. There is no National Tender Board?
The integrity that we see, that people want to portray, is a smoke screen. You heard the leaked audio that the president acknowledged to have been the author, where he was directing a minister, provincial minister, that they should give a contract to process the maize to a company that was in receivership. I'm a council. That is illegal. You don't give a contract. And the president was boasting, saying, in that audio, he was even calling his ministers these chaps. I said, this is a country where laws are frowned upon. We are so careless that the president can even have, in a leaked video, say he was asking at no, we pass a contract. Talking about a company that is in receivership. And no one has taken responsibility. And in a normal state where people respect the law, by now the president would have resigned. But we allow all that mediocrity because it is in those mediocrity that people have managed to amass wealth, to be where they are. To tell you the truth, my wife worked for Anti-Corruption Commission for a long time, and I promised her that you will never find me downstairs. She worked for more than 10 years. That's the time I stopped even tendering because every step I would find there's a point where I need to give money to somebody. I refused that stop. I said, no, I will not betray my wife. I promised her I'll never take a bribe. And let them check. I've never taken a bribe. I would have been one of the richest architects because I love my work. And I'm exemplary when I'm working. But I can't be. Because for me to be first, I need to be corrupt. And I'm not the only one. Most of these hard-working Zambians, sometimes they get frustrated, they go abroad. They are watching us abroad, they have run away. Because here, how people even become millionaires like President Hakainde Hichilema is a miracle. It's a miracle because you need to be a good thief for you to succeed. And those are the things some of us want to change. We want to come and level the playing field where people who genuinely want to work, who have got passion and have got qualification. Not you know, the problem with corruption is that you can segment it, saying the first 100 will follow the process. So that we show ourselves that we are clean people. That's what this government is doing. The first few people will show you, hey, but transparent. Then out of the 10 transparent people, 100 that comes up are through corruption. But they'll front those that have done right. And they would want us to thank them. As if we don't know about the corruption.
Do you personally hate President Hakainde?
Why would I even hate him? I'm a Christian to begin with. I've got no room for hate. I don't hate anybody.
Are you bitter that he's president?
I mean, what is that to be bitter? He's in his own league. He's president. I'm KASONDE MWENDA. I'm happy the way I am. I'm happy for myself. Bitter for what? That I want what he has. President Hakainde Hichilema, to be very honest, has got his own achievements that I can't compare to. But in all honesty, I've got my own achievements that he can't compare to. I'm content with what I have. Honestly, I would rather they kill me than I become Haka in Dechilema. I don't envy his life. I love my life. I'm content for who I am. Bitter for his success? No, I can't be.
I want to ask a question. I'll take you back to what you earlier alluded to, that some people, when they are campaigning, they are given money so that when they are in power, they start paying back and pleasing. This is in the case of certain projects and things. Is that true? It's that people in the opposition, they get money and without principles, they collect that and then end up selling the country?
Look, maybe people may be thinking those things are far. I'll bring them to an example that is nearby. Do you know how government handles by-elections? This same government, even the previous, they cluster people during a by-election, put them in one locality, start feeding them before, about 2 weeks before the election. Start feeding them. They pay them every day a ration to be taken home. And on the actual day of election, they'll give them money. This new Dawn government is doing that. It's paying people to vote for it.
Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. If I'm lying, let them come and arrest me. These are what they're doing. The same dirty schemes that they despised, they are now experts. That's what they did in the previous election. Sometimes they say, no, why don't you participate in the by-election and that fear will power? How can I be competing with people that are not respecting the law? Me, I start following the rules of ECZ. Them, they're not following. That's why you go to a by-election, you find the Muntu, Akwata 3 votes. The ruling government, with a funny character that they are fielded as a candidate, boom, wins. They bought and they shamelessly buy. This government shamelessly buy votes. And I will tell them in their face, they are an embarrassment. So this is what has happened. The debt has continued, even multiplied. And unless we come to a level of conscience and start saying, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Why can't we for once even follow our own rules? Why can't we follow the rules? Campaign properly. Share ideas. Stop buying. So now tell me, people who are paying off people to vote for them, that is how they also got into power. Because some people use them as conduits. They solicited money. For lack of better terms, they got money from the devil. And the devil comes to call because he doesn't give anything for free. So it is a common practice that people borrow money for campaigns and for what. It's not always, but most times, people borrow money. And as a result, they tie themselves to those things. And sometimes, Bashima people, it's just lack of people's understanding. You know that it's possible that a student who is intelligent can use a leakage. Because that was the confidence that Nafi Shiva. Some of these people can actually win an election, but they have got low self-esteem. There was no need for President Hakainde Hichilema to have even involved the Americans in the previous election. He was going to win because Zambians wanted to change. He just needed to campaign. He did not need to tie himself that now as president, he has got no backbone. He's puppet to the West because he feels duty bound. There was no need. So like that intelligent child who's supposed to just read and pass, he goes to use a leakage. That's how we undermine our potential. It's because sometimes we don't even know who we are.
President KASONDE, before we open the lines, people are crying. Hunger, 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 and unemployment problem. What is your comment? Are the people suffering? Is it true that there are no jobs in this country? And if there are no jobs, can't we create jobs?
You know, Pastor, to say people are suffering is an understatement. Our people have been suffering for a long time. They haven't started in this new Dawn government. They have been suffering. We suffer. You have been abroad. You have seen how some countries beg people to work.
Absolutely.
How you can be a maid and make money than what a director is making here. People live decent lives. Not if twikara, tulachola. This is not good. That's why our people, politicians come promise them and say, no, we'll make your lives better. Hey, they go and vote. It's because Zambians are looking. They are hoping, who will get us out of this suffering? Who will get us out of this poverty? We are highly indebted. We are impoverished. Even the world knows. So it's not a secret that Chula. It should not even be a debate. The world knows we are third world countries. Third. Last group D. We suffer. We should not even fool ourselves. No, we are the Champions League in Sada. So we should not be dishonest. And Chiran Kalipaine. Once Tawudi, no. It's not fair. No, it's not fair. It's not fair to our people. Just enjoy. To come and say, I want to know, it's unfair. Teacher, afunda, let the children
write an
exam. Pass. Then you show that you worked as a teacher. Class, they are lost. But you are a teacher. No. That's being unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair. It's evil, for lack of better terms. It's unfair. Employment. This country, we know that the problem of employment has been there also for a long time. And I think we should reach a moment first and foremost. That we should reach a level of acceptance. Now wakusanga now kwata HIV, now kwata TB, now cancer. I think that the first step is you need to accept that it's in kwata. That's when you know how to manage it. This country has got a problem with employment. Instead of us having cosmetic approaches, no CDF to HTF, no, let's no. The problem we have is that we do not have a system that which takes advantage of our potential. We have got some of the best climate in Southern Africa. One of the most watered countries in Africa, second only to Congo. We have got the rich soils that we have. But we fail to maximize our potential in agriculture to create employment. We have got mineral resources. You went there? I went there in those trenches. I was even arrested and put in cells for trespass. When I went to the deep end there, I was looking and see how people are finding gold. Now, we have got gold. Ikasen said, why aren't we mining that gold? Why?
But it's been mined. They don't mine it.
No, they don't mine. They mine it if you are fundungu. Not that the country should benefit, but that people, individual people who are connected, they are mining, but there's an embargo that no one should mine. So unless we reach a moment when we start recognizing that, say, okay, kuno tuli ni kuisa, kuno tuli ni kukasama. This place is mountainous. We have heard of Kasama coffee. That's beautiful coffee. Ngawanwa na mchuva mwaisuka. We should zero in to see how we maximize on that potential. Last month, I went to see my in-law in Mazabuka. And I went to Nakambala Sugar Estate. I drove through, I even posted on there. And I saw that this is potential. They have tapped water. They make sugar effortlessly. That's recognizing the potential of a place. Why don't we extend such initiatives? Ngawak Southern Province, when you go to Siavonga there, you have to be slowing down for boats to pass. That's a potential. Why don't we maximize such kind of potential that we create employment? So, but chipante for wasanga no abaku Siavonga. Na abapera CDF. Iya kulima coffee. That's confusion. That because you must apply. So that lack of guidance.
Is this CDF, sorry to go back, is this CDF for every Zambian?
It is supposed to be for every Zambian.
And every cooperative?
It's supposed to be for every Zambian. And I would want to make that one correction. The centralization program was not started by the UPND. In all our development plans, first, second, there was policy being created. This has been a long journey for us to reach here. And I would want to caution the UPND Sometimes they want to say, since independence. Where were these people since independence? You see that? They are being deliberately mischievous to mislead people. The UPND, are they the ones that created the decentralization policy? Do they even know how to create a decentralization policy? They are not the one. But they will tell you, since independence, we have decentralized. It's not even your program. Even the IMF confusion, it's not even their program. Even the application, they're not the one who even sent. So when we become truthful, honest, in approaching our problems, we will reach somewhere. Every time we have a problem, we look outside, we run outside. Our solution is inside. I went in 2017. I drove all the way to Ikerenge, bordering Mwinilunga, and I visited the once prosperous Mwinilunga cannery. You know it better.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know what I found?
Yeah.
All the houses were even overgrown by weeds.
No.
I found a slab, a plinth slab.
No.
No one lives there. It's deserted. Even snakes have left because there are no rats. That's how bad it is. I cried. Some guy took a video. The previous government at least had, and they have opened another cannery. I don't know how it's doing. I don't know.
Right there.
Right there. So there is potential
to create jobs.
Today, I was supposed to be traveling to Chipata. Chipata up to now, but what's offending? Me, my grandfather, I was there. We left those industries that by now would have put us on the map. We abandoned them. Those are points of creation of
Just
industry.
like we are celebrating President KASONDE, that Rwanda is making vehicles. Were we not making Land Rovers here?
Yes.
Fiat 124. We were making lorries here. So to just, because when this government leaves, another one comes in, you rubbish, trash everything. We were among the first people in Africa to be assembling vehicles here during the apartheid regime in South Africa. Dr. Kaunda had a vision, but that's another story for another day. I want to open the lines so that people can help me to ask you questions. But before I do, President KASONDE, I can tell you that my wife and I and our team, we want to join you politicians, not to argue, but to prove to Zambia that we were born for greatness. There is a drip irrigation that we are promoting, because also it has come after so many research tests here and there. One drip irrigation, President KASONDE, which if you have a farm, I would recommend you to buy this. It will last you, the minimum is 5 years.
Where can I find it?
You don't change it. I'll play the advert.
I'm a farmer, an ardent farmer, yes.
Contact Rainglow. I'm going to play this. We have believed we want to plant 70 million avocados for the people of Zambia. And this week, my friend Red and I and my wife, we are going to be distributing 3 avocado trees or seedlings to some poor people in Lusaka West, Lusaka East. We want to tell them that Zambia, we can come out of this poverty. We don't have to fight each other. I know talk is cheap, but work is the reality. Let me just ask my director to give us the advert for Rainglow, and after that, the lines, dear Camnet TV viewers, are open for you to ask.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rainglow, your smart irrigation partner. Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Dear Kamne TV viewers, wherever you are viewing us from, I am hosting President KASONDE, the President of EFF, and you are free to ask any question as long as those of you that are calling, if you don't agree with what he believes in, I do not expect any demeaning words or statements. Let's use our brains to reason, not our mouth. The phone lines are open. You are free to ask any question. And those of you who have been sending the text messages, you are free. We'll be able to read the text messages. President KASONDE, before this comes in, the Bible says, without vision, people perish. I believe with all my heart that all of you people who aspire to be presidents, before you even put your name on the ballot paper, you must have a vision how you are going to transform this nation, day 1, day 2, day 3, without blaming this one, that one, this one, and just focus on that. Have you got a vision? If people elect you to become president, have you got a vision to make this country move from third world to second world to first world?
Thank you. You have said it. I mean, why should somebody even want to stand as president? As a matter of fact, everyone has a vision. Maybe some visions are just personal visions.
And some are blared.
And some are blared. They're just pante. Yes, we do have a very solid. Anyone can even check in our manifesto. We've got a manifesto with about 40 pages on our website. We are the only political party with a website. Not even UPND, they don't have a website. They don't even have an email. So you can simply go to EFF Zambia.
Are you not being malicious, President? Such a big political party in ruling, they can't have a website and an email.
Wow. I'm speaking matters of fact. They should tell us what website they have. Anyway, that's why they can't communicate their vision. We have a downloadable. Go to EFFZambia.org. You find our manifesto. It shows you we have got this.
It's not a copy and paste.
No. You know, my friends and I we did a country tour for the past 8 years. We started as a movement to conscientize the government of the potential of this country. We'd go to this district to propose to them, why don't you do this? Now we learned that these people are not doing these things. So we said, why don't we be the ones to do? So that's where EFF was born. From us seeing things that we can do that we are not doing. So we have got a detailed plan on how we would turn around. We have got plans of even connecting all the provinces to the line of rail. There are things which are basic. We know that Zambia's development has been concentrated along the line of rail. Why do we still not have a rail line connecting Eastern Province and Northern Province when they're just a stone throw apart? You have to come back all the way here to Central Province before you go to Chipata. Up to now, we have failed even to cut across the Mchinga escarpment. If you see the line of rail, we have failed to. So why are we like this? Mobility is compromised. We would be arguing about what kind of a road. Transport alone, we have got a strategy. Industries, we have got a policy that we call one district, one factory. We want to make sure that each district has got something that it is known for, that it does. The same way we have towns in Copper Belt that are known for copper. We need to go, when you go to Snazeze, you should know what factories are in Snazeze. You deliberately need to move this agenda. Say in Snazeze, there is this particular industry based on their potential by virtue of their geographical advantage. That's how they developed China. Those who are in the mountains started growing what could fit in the mountains. Those in the valley, things for the valley.
There is a call, President Kasonde. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Probably we will take that later. There is a message here, President Kasonde. Sorry. Those of you who are calling on this line, please don't call on 883. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. What's your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Banda West.
You are?
Banda West.
Mr. Banda.
Yes, I'm calling you from shop.
From Choma.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please contribute to the debate.
The ESF president, I like his service. What I would love to contribute is that let them come to Choma. I'm looking at his age is so youthful to come and educate the citizens of Choma about the goodness of to come up with the projections to give the government checks and balances. There's too much ignorance of matters to do with governance. That is my.
Have you heard this?
Yes, yes.
What is he?
He's challenging us to not just be here in Lusaka, but to go to Choma and sensitize people, let people know about what is happening and how they can be part of it. I think it's a very valuable contribution.
President Kasonde, there is this text that has come. Good evening, Pastor and President Kasonde, of course. It says, I'm a retired civil servant and many others. I retired last January, but up until now, I've not yet gotten my terminal benefit. The President promised that every retired civil servant must get his or her terminal benefits in 3 months' time after being retired. Is 3 months still not over? That is in January. When will these 3 months be? Our money is losing value every day, and by the time we will get it, it will be nothing. Maybe we did not pay much attention to what he said. He may have said 3 years, not 3 months. So what is the truth? What is the government position on retirees' benefits? This is Mr. Hasungule.
No, it's good people are speaking, and I think it's our duty for us to amplify their voice. So I've heard what he has spoken, and on the fora that I have will be saying these things. We only hope that the people that are in power will not be just closed up to listen to what people are saying.
But did the president at any time promise the people of Zambia that when a person retires, they will be getting their retirement package within 3 months?
Definitely. I remember such kind, I may not remember it to the detail, but I remember him promising that he would do it quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised that he promised 3 months. I wouldn't be surprised. And if he promised that, it is something he should be working up to, because the worth of a leader is a sort in his word. So if today you can say these things and you do the other thing, then you are just shooting yourself in the foot as a leader, because you need to give people confidence.
Okay. Are there text messages, Mr. Director? Let me take some text messages from there. And lovely evening to you, Mwewa Fiasha and President Kasonde. 2 quick questions. One, how do you rate this new Dawn administration since took office. I foresee that you are too critical to UPND administration now. What good things can you admire or admit done by the administration from Boniface C. Lukonde? This is Barriston. Evening, Pastor and President Kasonde. My question is, you talked about gold in Kasenseli. What about Sajurite from Luapula? Can't Zambia make billions and pay off the debt? These two questions. Because this Sajurite, I don't know. I also just heard from my friends who know these things overseas that you people are begging for 1.3 when Sajurite, a ton of it you can be out of power. You know anything about Sajurite?
Yes. I'm a Luapula boy. And Sajurite is just one of the many good things in Luapula. Tuliwena tuingi kulokwa vesavi kwa bashila. You know, it remains for Luapula, our heart bleeds because it still remains one of the most impoverished. Before we even think about the greater big Zambia, Luapula kwa libensala, despite its plentifulness. If you look at our statistics, it shows it is the most malnourished place and has got the highest number of people that are stunted growth. It's Luapula. Luapula has got the least number of secondary schools. And even when this government announced that it has borrowed money from World Bank for building schools, it has allocated the least number to Luapula. I don't know what wrong Luapula has done. So that potential, we can maximize it. And it's high time that these things that were happening under wraps, had it not been reported, this Sajurite would have gone down. There are many, many, many such. And as a country, unless, like what I was saying.
So has it stopped being mined?
No, how can it stop? It's minerals are being mined. But the only question is who's mining?
Who is behind them?
Yes. Instead of the state benefiting, cadres are mining. People complain every day to us. They send us details. No, these are things are happening. Can you expose these things? These are the things that flood our communication cycle of what is happening.
Somebody said you are too critical of UPND. Are there some good things that they've done which you can...
Of course, we shouldn't expect that the UPND can just be doing bad things. There are good things that they do. And we are not ashamed to pick on those good things. One thing that I can commend President Hakainde Hichilema is how he handled the wedding of his daughter. She was my classmate. She showed his trust in tradition.
Yeah.
He could have gone to Spain and lavished it. But me, a Pan-African, I saw him embrace culture. You know, that I would commend him.
But that's not government.
No, he's leading by example. Family, you know how critical family is. There are people who hide their children, who are not proud of theirs. But
yeah.
he showed leadership from the from his family. I don't also have a problem the way he looks after the madam. I can commend him. So it's not that we are just all after the bad. No. They are good that we pick out.
The administration,
no,
this
the administration has been very poor.
How will you rate the UPND administration? That was the first question.
I would give them 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
On administration, they have been lamentable. They have been ugly by their own standard. They set the standard themselves. They even told us they'd taken us to whichever league. I don't know what that means. Now we're being relegated even from the previous league that we were a number. So there isn't much to write home about. They have been a disappointment.
Let's take some more text messages, Mr. Director. If you can give me some. President Kasonde MWENDA, how related to
EFF South Africa?
Or are you related to EFF South Africa? The one headed by Julius Malema.
In the interest of being a sovereign state, our affairs are independent here in Zambia. But we are under the auspice of economic freedom fighters. This is a Pan-Africanist movement. It did not start as political parties. it was an ideology of philosophers who wanted to protect the interest of being united, Africa as a one. So to interpret that vision, we realize as Africans that we can't just be philosophers talking about how Africa can unite. There are vehicles that are created for governance, and these are politics. So we are now in a dispensation where now we are actualizing the Pan-Africanism on the front page of politics, so that this agenda can be utilized, can be realized, where we have one united Africa that believes in Africa, that puts the interests of Africa. So we are related on principle. We are friends. Where there's room, we collaborate. But all in all, we are sovereign. We are Zambia, they are South Africa. There are many. There is in Zimbabwe, there is in Lesotho, there is in Nigeria, there is in Namibia, there is in Angola. We are now in more than 32 countries as freedom factors. Yes. So it depends. Us here, we are center-left. Others are very left. Depending, you can't come with a one-shoe-fits-all. Each country has got some of its own potential. So for Zambia, we feel there are so many poor people. We can't just have a capitalist regime. We need to have a regime that is sensitive to the poor. So we'll have programs that lean to the south, programs that lean to the east. Programs that lean to the south, so we have created that. Otherwise, we are one as Africans, but we are not just an extension. We are brothers and sisters, and we are a family.
Let's pick up this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Bishop. Good evening, the President.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Apostle.
Apostle?
Apostle.
Apostle who?
Apostle
Mapalo.
Oh, Mapalo.
Everyone.
From where, Apostle?
From Long.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes, I want to make a contribution and also the question.
Yes, sir.
The question is about the CTF. Why now the CTF very big? And our government has started. You get the when they are getting the CTF. This for you for Zambia. Number one question. Number two, if I look at what Shamogo that is just done. Why are we able to do this? But we are shooting at our spot. You know, the kind of God, they are telling you, or reminding you, the promise your promise Zambian people, then they should be able to respect the men of God. Because they want to remind you that you can't do. That is an example of you could tie the name of the watcher. That's all our. You know what it is, what? To try that two things. I look at the price of the treasure today, 1,400. We are reminding them, they think that the men of God, we are attacking them. We are not attacking them, we are reminding them. And then it's up to the president. I am choosing our super people. We start by a bishop to be more than a president. We need to understand that they start by more than a president. Because we are coming to heaven in government. And the church has always said to direct. But you know the bishop. That whatever about the one of three, one of the three, you can. Each day I want to put a direction in Africa. Each day I want to and there are more than two. So a lot of the people of the direction of Zambia, that are elected officers of the church, is about the people. Number two, I want to urge all you presidents to respect the bishop, to respect the man of God. The Bible says, that's not financial one. You cannot call the bishop to a table when you want to start. You are fighting God. When we tell them to Damascus, to stop the children of God, Jesus appeared and said, Paul, why are you persecuting me? When you are speaking in English against the priest or the bishop, you are speaking against God.
Now, before you go, Bishop Apostle Mapalo. Oh, you have heard what he has said.
Yes.
Your comment.
First, he asked, saying, is the CDF for UPND?
For UPND or for Zambians?
Yes. I think it's an abuse of our law when we make CDF be accessed only by UPND.
The ruling party.
It's taxpayers' money. Teva UPND veka abalipira tax. It's all of us. And that's a government program. It's not a party program. If they want to have party program, let them open at their secretariat, not using government infrastructure, not using government money. That money is for every Zambian. So like in Zambia, we don't even sue. In other countries, yes. So we should see these tendencies being stopped. It's CDF for everyone. Kuchindi kabashima pepo ofo twakula enta ambitious chamupamba. You know, it's an abomination when in Zambia, where you have political leaders insulting men of God, it's unheard of, and it shouldn't be encouraged. For some of us, that's why we have taken the step and said, no. If this, we want to beg them. We'll have to stop them by all means. If it means us taking them to court, reporting to the police, we will do that, and we have done that. That should be stopped. We need to learn to coexist.
There is this text, Mr. President. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and President KASONDE MWENDA. I'm following your interview with Pastor Chiluba, very interesting, full of enlightening information. President KASONDE, what is the vision of your political party when privileged to rule Zambia concerning land issues? Considering the current strange norm where indigenous Zambians are being pushed out of their lands they have occupied for generations ago, can the government provide for education of our indigenous people to have the title deeds through customary laws in Zambia? This is coming from the UK, by the way. He says, what is your position? Because the current norm is that Zambians are being pushed from their villages.
Yes. It's unfortunate that when we assume leadership, we forget that we are presiding over people that are weak. Not everybody is strong. And those people who are weak, they need to be protected. Just because you have done a legal transaction, abapina ngana abachula, it's possible that tibashtisha nempotosho bepikiramo because insarati abepaya. Those people need to be taken care of. Today, before I came, I received a call from one of the representative of one of our traditional leaders, a respectful big chief, sent somebody and called, say, Mutula Direko. How people are losing land in one of these chiefdoms. Tomorrow they'll communicate whether I should visit that place or not. But people are losing, and they are losing it because our people are very impoverished. And people entice them with money. And they end up selling what they have. Because we have got very bad laws that allows foreigners to even grab lands from our people. When us, we cannot even get an inch of land in other countries. So we have allowed some systems to exist that do not advantage our people. And we have got access to the laws. We can change the laws. And as economic freedom fighters, we want to make sure that when we come, it will not be possible for a foreigner to own land on a long lease. If they have to use land, it's on a short list that they will need to be renewing. But we would not be giving land, a tenure, 99 years tenure, to a foreigner who ends up taking the whole country, takes up the whole village. People are displaced. That we cannot allow.
You know, 2 months ago, some few months ago, I should say, I was in South Africa, and my host invited one of the ministers in South African government who happens to be a mentor to Julius Malema, because I follow Julius Malema's thoughts with a lot of interest. So when my host knew that I love Julius Malema's thoughts on certain issues, he said, Pastor, let me call you the mentor to Julius Malema. And we had a wonderful time together in the hotel. it is good to know that one of the strong points for Julius is that land should belong to the South Africans.
People. Yes.
And he has a vision for that. But here, when you see, even in Chongwe here,
yes,
there is an issue. Even the graveyard, for many generations, has been taken off by some investor, and I don't know what is. We've been reporting that case on a Cabinet television. Our people have been going. They are being displaced. It's very interesting.
Which graveyard?
For the villagers in Chongwe.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big land in
Chongwe,
Chongwe which is being taken from the villagers.
Yes.
We've been reporting this, and everyone seemed to be quiet on it.
I think we'll move it also. We'll move on it.
So what is your policy on the land? Are you going to flex your muscle?
It's in our manifesto. We are Pan-Africanists, and our prima facie interest is that the African interest should be prioritized above any other whatsoever. So for us, land is not negotiable. To us, it's a fundamental right for our people, and that land cannot be given away to others at the expense of our people. Not at all. They can come collaborate with us, but we will not give them land for them to take, for keep. No, it's not possible, not under the EFF government.
Finally, President Kasonde, do you think Zambia has enough natural resources that we can pay our debt without bowing to Western powers, Eastern powers, Asian powers? Do you think Zambia has been blessed by God that we can pay our debt and become a powerful country, self-sufficient?
I think there's a common phrase that they call, for lack of better terms, a case of plenty. It is common that to them that usually have much, it's common that people who have much don't utilize them. I think we have got too much. Sujilite, gold, silver, copper, emerald, such that we don't even have direction. I was giving you at Mopani. Mopani alone, a good year, we can make $2 billion US dollars. 2 billion, meaning the debt that just Mopani alone. Just Mopani alone, we can make $2 billion US dollars. Mopani. And we are crying over debt from China. We have got only 6 billion. So within 3 years, if we say, okay, Mopani, we will just use this to pay debt to China. China will give you 3 years, we will pay. Did we need to go and get an IMF loan to pay? So it is ukufomutwe. That's what my father used to tell me every time when you are failing to reason. Say, "Iwe, so it is a tendency for us not to have self-belief, self-confidence that we can do it. I think Africa will only be there the moment we shake off ourselves from dependency. Umwana panganda ngachakoba nakula na muleka fina ikala bala kulidira. That's why Abafiashi will tell you, say, hey, ukoaya ngawapusha college, you're not coming back here. Ukarentinga kwa kanga ndoko na ngulikumara podi or somewhere, but you're not coming here. And when you start living on your own, you realize that, why was I even living? I can pay rent, I can do this thing. So unless you let go of what you keep holding on to, you will never know you can swim. You can only learn swimming when you let go of the one teaching you. I think we have interacted with the West, with the South, with the East. It's time for Africa to swim on its own. It's time for us to say, enough, we are not going to get any funding. Let's swim with our resources. But if we say, no, first we need them to bring foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment. They used what they have. You start with what we have. I think we have been getting foreign direct investment long enough. How long should we get foreign direct investment? It's time for us to exchange ideas. The world has become one. If I want information, I can collaborate. We are now moving into an EV-powered generation where the battery system will replace the fossil fuels. And Zambia and DRC Congo comes to be the best beneficiaries if we are wise. But I've heard that even tycoons are making factories to be making batteries in the US for them to be exporting. I remember our president went to Kalumbila to open the biggest nickel mine. Now, this day and age, we are still opening nickel mines to be sending nickel ore abroad. How do you open a mine without opening a refinery and a processor? So that you continue losing nickel the same way we lost copper. Cobalt, we know, is becoming strategic in the making of batteries. We want to be sending. No. I think we need to change. It's high time, if we want to import expertise. We have got Zambians that are at MESA, that are qualified. They call us. We have promised as economic freedom fighters, when we take over realms of power, we'll call people like the way Israel called its people, saying, come, let's build a city. Let's build a country. As economic freedom fighters, when we take over government, we will sound the clarion call and say, Zambians in MESA, in China, come. Come, let us reason together. Let's build a country. And I look forward to a Zambia. We have got doctors. Our man wants a brain drain to Kaweta. Not that, you know, we in UK, they honored Dambisa and made a part of their system. If we Dambisa somewhere as qualified as she's, we resent. We don't call.
We don't use her.
We are even in an economic crisis. We are not using her. So, in our inability to appreciate potential, those we need to call them. That is our resource. God gave us those people for a reason. Unless we call those people, they come and reforms. Nothing zero. Where they are respected. They are honored. We should honor those people. So, until we reach that consensus of calling people, some of the people that are even helping us in EFF, the people that are helping us, even people that helped us with our website and all those things that we are doing. These are people that are abroad. They have offered help to this government. It has refused.
Sure.
So they say, who is next that we can offer? Maybe I have a new generation. So, so it is those people that are being rejected who wants to help. People thought this new Dawn government is a game changer. So those in the diaspora, those who are around here, started flocking with their ideas. They were being chased. Nobody knows it. Or you fix it. So these are the people now that are, even as our growing now, it's coming is because those stones that they are rejecting are the ones that are regrouping. It even took the Catholic, the people that went to beg and fight for when it was Kumukobeko. It was Bateresfo. It was Bampundu. Batres from Pundu, Naba Ali Kibanda. There were three.
Another minister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who went? These are the people say, useless. You know, you don't do that. When you have power, remember people that put you up there. They say, when you're going up, remember the people on your way, because on your way back, you need them. So the UPND should not forget that they did not get there on their own. It's people like you who helped galvanize a voice. Many people spoke, you know, and got them there. Let them know that the people are the custodian of the power, and they need to save the interests of the people.
Your last campaign words to your electorate, look in that camera and say what you want to say to the young people. I know they are looking at you with admiration and say, he's my next president. What are your last words?
We always say, wherever we want to go, our feet will take us there. We were a generation that was born in hardships. I'm talking to you, by new generation. You have not seen the good times when Zambia chali chalo chikashana. Like Washima Pepuapa, they saw when Zambia was Zambia, when they could finish school, find trucks waiting to give them jobs.
Straight.
National service. If we were fear at the peak of HIV/AIDS, only a few that were lucky could grow up with both parents. That's how we grew up. We were born in mourning. COVID number. So we have come up to be where we are through a terrain of pain, thorns. And I would want to encourage my youth. This which we are found in, it is not that anyone will pity us. It is up to us to galvanize our energy, unite, and build on from where our parents left. We should not be used as tools to fight and pull each other down, but we should sound a herald so that together we can build. Each generation has a mandate. We respect our parents. They raised us to be where we are. But beyond here, it will take us with our vision. Each generation is born with its own leaders. You can't go and borrow leaders from the previous generation. So we have a mandate to usher Zambia into economic independence. It's a global world. So I'm inviting the new generation youth. Economic freedom fighters is your vehicle. Come and be part of this force that is unstoppable. Together, let us work. You can reach us. We are the only one I've told you who have got email, who have got website. Connect with us. Let's use social media. Let's galvanize. Go to school. Prepare yourself. Sharpen your skill. Keep your integrity. Most of you, I'm inviting you. Even make sure you marry if you are marriage age. Playboy. Make sure you come to EFF as you are, but with focus. We'll create room for you. This coming election will sponsor youth. We'll sponsor women. We'll sponsor elderly people. We'll make sure that economic freedom fighters is the next government that will take care of the people of Zambia. And we are aiming not to go to the West. I can assure them will not be puppets of the East. We won't be puppets of UK, USA, or China. We'll be puppets of Zambia, people that will maximize our potential as a country, and will not be telling you lies. We'll tell you the truth, and we'll build this country.
And you'll be non-aligned.
No. We'll be non-aligned because Zambia was founded on the foundation to be non-aligned.
Non-aligned. Yeah.
We were a haven of peace. South Africa, they were used to not if we Ukraine, that's like in a position. That is not the Zambia that we know. Yeah. We should be non-aligned. We should be a place where people can come and quench their fires. Bury the hatchet, be the unifier. Bakainde, this is for you. Please spare Zambia. Don't align this country to Ami Papata. This country is bigger than you. Don't align us. That we for America, China, we want Zambia. Don't destroy our country. Don't destroy it for us, for your children. Me, I love your children. I know them. Some of them have even been to school with them. So, please don't destroy it for us. Don't align Zambia to Ami Papata. Let it be. I want to be free to go to China. I want to be free as a Zambian to go to the US. I want to be free to go to Russia. Not in danger. Zambians are loved almost everywhere you go because we are non-aligned. For the morsel of bread, let's not soil our international relations. If we are uncomfortable as a new generation. So may he please step off that. That could be my last words.
Thank you. Well, dear KASONDE TV viewers, there you have it. President KASONDE MWENDA has expressed his views from the heart, and in Bemba we say imiti kula empanga. And some of you understand this language. In Bemba you say, KASONDE, wachabe chabe. In Bemba we say, sule mbua, umuntu munobe tabamusula. And I'm so grateful that he took time to come to this show. And on behalf of my wife, who is the CEO, I always give credit to my wife. She's just fantastic. How she manages to run this station, it's beyond my understanding. I just come here, appear to make my presentation, preach, and off I go. But she runs this institution professionally on behalf of the young people who are never tired of seeing this station move from one level to another. To you, cabinet members of staff, you are fantastic. And the leadership of the Healing Word Ministries, I'm forever grateful. To you, dear viewers, thank you for being there. And yesterday, after I preached, some of you listened to my message, and I received your contribution here. And some of you have responded to you. I'm still responding to you. Let me tell you, as President KASONDE kept on saying, we are Pan-Africanists. If you don't stand behind KASONDE TV, nobody will promote this station. To all of you watching, Zoe in the UK and those in the United States and around the world, we can only say, keep watching KASONDE TV, because KASONDE TV is not just another channel. Bye-bye.